Hello, welcome back to the Bobcat Broadcast. I'm Jackson Trouble, your host, and this is your weekly news. But before we get started, this is your Pledge of Allegiance. Please stand and put your right hand over your heart. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. You may be seated.
Hi, welcome back to our teacher interview. We are here with Hannah Fisher, and we will ask her a few questions today. So, Hannah, why did you decide to come to OBO?
So I went to OBO as a child, and I was a teacher, and my children also go to the school, so I thought that it was a great place to be.
Cool. What is your favorite book to read on free time?
I love any Mo Willems books, even though those are children's books, but I love Mo Willems books.
Cool. What do you like to eat?
Sushi is my favorite food to eat, and the spicier the better.
What's your favorite movie or TV show?
My favorite movie, it's a toss-up. I love Moana, and I also love Rapunzel.
What's your favorite thing about OBO?
My favorite thing about OBO is the community that is built, and seeing all the faces and all the children and working with them.
When did you start teaching?
What year or just?
Yeah, what year?
Okay, so I started teaching in 2008, and then I was a teacher for 6 years, and then I stayed home when I had my own children for 7 years, and now I'm back teaching.
Cool. Thank you for watching our teacher interview with Hannah Fisher.
Hello, I'm Ashley Wonder, and I'm in 7th grade, and I'm part of the Service Committee and Student Council.
And I'm Augie Comus McKinney. I'm in 6th grade, and I'm also part of the Service Committee.
And today here we are joined with Jerry. He is a race car driver. So Jerry, are you ready to start the questions?
I am.
All right. How long have you been a race car driver?
I've been racing full-time for 34 years. A long time.
Yeah.
What types of cars do you race?
I've raced pretty much anything with wheels. I've done everything from road racing to NASCAR to sprint cars and midgets to the only thing I haven't done is drag racing. I've pretty much done the rest of it. So if it's got wheels, I've probably driven it.
Wow. All right. How did you become a driver, and do you need any special training?
You do, I started it actually at Orangevale Open. I went to Orangevale Open when I was your age and graduated. Back then it was called Roberts Elementary, same school. And all I ever wanted to do from my littlest memories on is drive race cars. So I saved up all my money and I read everything I could read. I spent lots of time at the library. That was before the internet when we were really old. And then I would ask questions. I would go to people who were in racing, and I would do what you're doing. I'd ask questions about how do you do it, and why do you do it, and what does this do, and what does that do? With race cars, it's not just the physical part. There's a lot of physical that, just like any other sport, you have to work out a lot to stay in good shape and have your cardio ready to go. But then there's also the mental side, because your body's experiencing all sorts of different inputs. So it's like playing a video game where you're watching things happen, but instead of just watching, your whole body's feeling it. So the controller's your whole body. So you have to be really in tune to what you're feeling from your legs and your back and your arms and just the movements of your head, because you have to be able to translate that into adjustments to make the car faster. So if the car is not turning, you want to make it turn better. And what do you need to do? So there's so many adjustments that you can make on a race car. And you really have to have the technical understanding, but as well as, just like if you were playing baseball and you were swinging the ball and the ball kept going to the right field and you want to adjust it to left, you have to adjust how you swing at the bat or swing the bat at the ball. Same thing with a race car. So there's just so many adjustments, from changing shock absorber stiffness to the type of spring on the corner to even how big the tires. We have what we call stagger. So the right rear tire is bigger than the left rear tire to help us turn left. And sometimes it's as little as an inch, and sometimes it's as much as 22 inches of difference in size. 22 inches is a lot of difference in size. So that's a lot of opportunities. Everything can be adjusted based on what you as a driver are feeling. So that's what I would do back when I started. I would ask lots of questions so I could try to learn these adjustments, and then read lots of books from people way smarter than me who have done this before me. So.
Have you had any major injuries, like
I have.
leg or arm?
I've had concussions mostly. I've had one fire in all my years. One time where an engine let go and the whole driver's compartment was covered in flames for about 10 seconds. But I wear lots of fireproof clothing, and I got out with no problems. My only real injuries ever in 34 years is a couple concussions from flipping race cars and crashing them really hard. But that's why all these helmets above my head have paid the ultimate price. Even though they got a cool paint job, what they've done is they've actually protected my head through most of these things. So you have to wear a really good helmet. They used to have a sign that said, if you have a $2 head, wear a $2 helmet. I really think my head's worth a little more than $2, so I spend a lot of money on helmets every year to make sure that my head's protected.
Nice. All right, do you need any special license to become a race car driver?
You do. So depending on the type of racing you're going to do, you need to go through a driving school. And then you have to do, you kind of, the higher you go up the ladder, the more you have to prove that you're capable. So when you go to NASCAR, for instance, when I got my NASCAR license to race at the big tracks on TV, I had to go through a big review process. I had to fill out about a 14-page questionnaire about your history and list all the places that you've raced and what you've done and what your successes are. And then you had to have other drivers that are in NASCAR basically be your reference or be your guide, saying, yes, this person, I've raced with them, I've seen them, and I think they're capable. So it goes through a big review board, and there's a 9-member committee that decides whether or not you get a license to race at that level. So it's a lot of work. And then they're expensive. I think the NASCAR license, the last one I bought was $1,500 for the license. So
Wow.
it gets expensive to go play.
Yeah. On the topic of money, can you earn any money racing cars?
You can. All the races pay money. Some pay more than others. So it just depends on, some people race just for the trophies and they really don't care about the money. And then some people race for the money because that's their income, that's their living. They do it for, that's their job or their career. So there's races that every weekend you can go somewhere on dirt tracks and race for $10,000 to $50,000 to win. $10,000 to $50,000 to win for that race. And so you have a lot of expenses because an engine in some of those classes will cost you $84,000 for an engine. But if you win enough races, you can cover that cost and put money back in your bank account so you can keep going. But yeah, all the races pay. Now, the higher you finish, the more money you make. Dead last, it's like the local races here around Roseville, last place pays $250 and to win pays $1,500 to $2,000 on a regular local basis on a weekly show. But there's also races, like there was a race at Chico this weekend that paid $50,000 to win. So there's places where you can go to make a lot of money racing, but of course there's a lot of cost because tires cost a lot of money. You're looking at $250 to $300 for one tire. And then those get consumed. So you have to replace them every so many races. So you have a lot of expenses to get into a race to go compete, plus paying for all your crew members and everybody else that have to go. So.
Okay. What advice would you give to someone who would like to become a race car driver one day?
Make sure it's something you really love. Whatever you're doing, you need to love it. Because if you don't really love what you're doing, you're not going to have the fortitude and the stamina to stay the course and really see it to the end. Racing is a very time-consuming activity. But just like if you were making videos for TikTok, or if you're doing things like that, it takes time. You have to really love what you're doing to do it. If you don't love it and you just want to do it once in a while, it's a lot of sacrifice to make for going kind of part way and not really being all your heart into it. Having your full heart into it is whether you're doing racing, playing the cello, playing guitar, whatever you're doing, you have to have your whole heart into it, because otherwise you won't stay the course and complete it. So you have to find things you're really passionate about. I am really passionate about driving race cars, so I've given up all sorts of things to go drive race cars around the country. But you have to make those sacrifices.
All right, that's some good advice. Thank you so much for joining us today. We really appreciate you taking your time.
Thank you so much for having me, and I hope you have a great rest of your day.
You too.
Thank you so much.
Bye.
The event for this week will be on Friday, and we'll be doing hats for $1. So all you gotta do is pay $1, and your teacher can't tell you to take your hat off in class. And all the money goes to charity, so it'll be for a good cause.
This week's weather forecast is an average high of 90 degrees and an average low of 60 degrees. I recommend wearing shorts and a t-shirt to stay comfortable. Thanks for watching this week's weather forecast. Stay safe.
And now it's time for the joke of the day. Hey Alex, why do you never trust stairs?
Why?
Because they're always up to something.
Now it's time for your after-school snack. All you need is any form of nut butter, a piece of bread, and some cut up bananas. That's how you make banana toast. That's all.
On this day in history, September 20th, 1839, the first railroad was built in the Netherlands. It's also Pepperoni Pizza Day. Thanks for watching this week's Bobcat Broadcast. Stay safe.